Alright, welcome to a pre-release prep video, everybody. This is the video for you if you don't have that much time to watch content, you got 10 minutes before your pre-release, and you kind of want to know what's going on going in. I just came off of playing Early Access, did some drafts, have some ideas of what's going on in the set, what's good, so let's talk about those. Gonna share those. Apologies, by the way, for the kind of dimmed out cards here. Like I said, we're still in Early Access, and there's no way to redeem the wild cards for these cards. They're not technically out yet, so apologies for that. I'll be zooming over them, of course, when we talk about them. So just to kick us off, a very quick PSA on the card Diplomatic Relations. I'm sure this is going to cause a lot of confusion for a lot of people, but this card is misprinted in paper. In paper, it does not say target creature you control gets +1/+0 and does all these things. It just says target creature, which is a very, very different card. So this, what you're seeing right now, target creature you control, that's the right text. And I'm sure a lot of pre-releases are going to call this out, but if they don't, now you know. Okay, let's get into the rest of the set and what's going on. So overall, I think Edge of Eternities is, especially in Sealed, it's going to be about going big, going over the top. This is a relatively slow format. You're thinking ramp, you're thinking card draw, and you're thinking the spacecrafts, which has been kind of a question mark for a lot of people. Are these going to be good? Are they going to be a little too slow? I think they're all pretty darn good. A lot of the games I played today really came down to spacecrafts. Either the spacecrafts with really good abilities, or just being a massive flyer that ended the game. This one in particular, by the way, Pinnacle Killship, I've been really impressed with it. This one's just a common, but comes in, deals 10, turns into a 7/7 flyer. One of the things in general about these spacecrafts that I noticed is that they're a little bit easier to turn on than you might expect. You might think, oh, tapping 7 power worth of creatures, is that too much? I don't think so. The board gets fairly stalled out in this format, so do put the spaceships in your deck. I would say you don't want more than like 4, maybe 5 at a max, because they do have the problem of, well, sometimes you draw too many spaceships and no way to station them. But yeah, don't shy away from them, especially the uncommons and the rares. I think these are all really good. And this Pinnacle Killship, I would play, 2 copies, maybe even 3 in some decks if I was missing a little bit of top end. So some other things to keep an eye out for when you're thinking, okay, I'm going big, I'm going over the top. The lander tokens, or anything that makes a lander token. There's creatures that come in to make lander tokens, or some spells that make lander tokens. These are generally what you want in your early game, right? A way to get to your late game, a way to accelerate out your good 7-drop. They're also some of the only fixing in this set. Below rare, that is. At common and uncommon, we actually only get 1 land, which is pretty rare these days. Like, usually we get a cycle of lands. This Command Bridge taps to add a mana of any color, comes in tapped, but you also have to tap another permanent once it comes in, or else you sacrifice it. So this is your only land fixing available. There are some rares, of course. There's the Cycle of Shock lands. There's also the bonus sheet, which has some lands. But mostly, when you're looking at how am I fixing my mana, how am I splashing this bomb, it's going to be the lander tokens, and they're all pretty good cards. I think anything that says make a lander token on, I'm pretty happy about those. Lander tokens also help you trigger landfall, and green-red is a landfall deck in this format. Especially helpful if you want to trigger it multiple times in a turn, which is something that the signpost here, Tanic, asks you to do. There's no fetch land, there's no evolving wild, so if you're triggering landfall multiple times in a turn, it is going to be through lander tokens. Also want to call out a specific landfall card here, Eusocial Engineering, which looks very similar to Chocobo Racetrack from Final Fantasy, if you played that. I think plays out quite a bit differently. Not only are the lander tokens going to make it so you can consistently keep hitting land drops, but the warp mode on this card means it's kind of just a 3-drop if you want it to be, right? Like, you can go on turn 3, play this before you play your land, make it 2/2, now this thing's just kind of hanging out in exile for whenever you want to cast it. Much different card than just being a 5 mana, well, I don't do anything early, and I might not even have lands later, right? So keep an eye on this one. I think as long as you have, maybe 4-ish ways to hit additional land drops, 4 lander tokens, I'd be pretty happy to play this one. I want to call out Gene Pollinator here, a single green mana for a 1/2 that can tap another permanent you control, adding mana of any color. This card's been really, really strong. It's just one of the better rampers, fixers, helps you tap your creatures that like to be tapped. There's some creatures that say, when you tap me, you surveil 1, or when you have 2 tapped creatures, you can make a 2/2. So this card kind of just does it all, fixes your mana, ramps you, enables those cards. Notably, it says tap a permanent you control, so you can tap, a land to make that land tap for a mana of any color, or tap an enchantment-based removal spell, right? You have like a blue aura that shrinks something. You get to tap that thing instead of tapping a creature. You don't have to actually take anything out of commission for the turn. So yeah, Gene Pollinator, been very impressed with. And just in general, I think the cards you're looking for in your early game in most decks are going to be cards that help you get to the late game. So something like this Zookeeper Mechan, been really impressed with it. Just a 2-mana 1/3 that taps to add a red mana and also has this expensive activated ability to pump something. This is the kind of card that I'm very happy playing in my 2-drop slot. I don't think many games in the sealed format are going to be about play a 2-drop, play a 3-drop, beat down, cast a combat trick. Gonna happen once in a while, but not the main thing I think the format is about. And then, so yeah, aside from the spacecrafts, which I, mentioned are all generally pretty good, this Pinnacle Killship, quite nice, this Specimen Freighter, which bounces creatures and then, turns into a really nice win condition, this Rescue Skiff, reanimate something, like, these are all cards that, I'm happy to have at my top end. A card like Biomechan Engineer is phenomenal, because not only is it a 2-mana card, it gives you a lander token, but gives you like a really, really nice mana sink, right? 8 mana, draw 2 cards, make a 2/2 robot token. This card's been fantastic. It's one of the best uncommons. I've also really liked this Survey Mechan. You gotta be 3 or 4 colors to really make it good. But it's this like cheap flyer that just sits around, pecks in for a few points of damage, and then eventually sacks to deal 3 to something, you gain 3, and you draw 3 cards. Like, this is the kind of card I'm pretty happy to play in this format. Any raw card draw, like this Cerebral Download, like this is going to be something I am very happy to put in my Steel deck. And then there's just some like pretty good top end at uncommon and common. So this Glacier Godmaw is not all that different from Craterhoof Behemoth. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of hyperbole, but this thing kills so easily. It's a 7-mana 6/6 trample that you get a lander token when it enters, and then when you landfall, all your creatures get +1/+1 vigilance and haste. Like, this thing's gonna end the game really nicely. Also, something just like Mouth of the Storm, Big Flyer, like these are the kind of cards that I would not be shy about putting, 4 or 5 of them in my Steel deck. Pretty happy about a few 7-drops, as long as you have a little bit of ramp. Next up, just want to talk about the warp mechanic, and like spacecrafts and the lander tokens, I think generally speaking, the cards that say warp on them, I found them to be pretty impressive. I like them. The mechanic works, it does all the things that I think the designers were expecting it to. A lot of the times, a lot of these designs are just like, I'm an expensive thing, like this Mechanizoa or this Starbreach Whale, and I've got a cheap warp cost, and so if you are stuck with a 5-drop or 6-drop in hand, great, you can do something else with your mana early. They're kind of like adventure cards where you go, okay, I cheat mode early, and then later on I'll cast my big thing. But then you've got some warp costs, which are really cool, like this All Fate Stalker, where, when you cast it for 4 mana, it comes in, it exiles something, great, you kill your opponent's best thing. But the warp mode plays a little bit differently, because you might go, okay, I blink my own creature, or I kill my opponent's token, or I get my opponent's blocker out of the way for 1 turn. Or a really cool thing that you can do is you go like, I warp in my Starbreach Whale, for example, and then blink it, right? And then you get just to keep the whale, right? You get to put the whale on the battlefield. It doesn't go away end of turn. A few other things about warp. It's very nice to be able to go warp in something big on an early turn, station a spacecraft, and, you actually get to use that power and toughness for something. It's not just the end of the battlefield effect you care about on your warp creature. Also, if you can give the creature haste somehow, right? So something like this Cavalron Turbo Drone, good way at common to give something haste, so you can actually attack with those warp creatures. Turn 3 Turbo Drone, turn 4 Warp in Mechanizoa, like that's a pretty nice curve. A funky rare I want to call out that I think is pretty good and doesn't look obviously good because it's got a kind of a weird text box, but Requiem Monolith, 3 mana for an artifact, has the ability tap this, until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature is dealt damage, you lose that much life and draw that many cards. That creature controller may have this artifact deal 1 damage to it, activate only as a sorcery. So kind of hard to grok, but basically what this says is, as long as you have a creature that has more than 1 toughness, you can just every turn just go, all right, tap this, ping my creature, draw a card, lose a life. So it's sort of like a Phyrexian Arena that you have control over when you draw cards, right? It's not like Arena where you go, okay, well, I'm just going to die to this thing eventually. You can actually say, hey, I want to stop drawing cards and losing life at some point. But also, you get into situations where it's like, well, my opponent's just got to block my creature, and I'm going to target it, target my 6/6 or whatever, and they're like, okay, I guess I got to kill that, and then you draw 6 cards. So, yeah, a pretty strong card. I would choose to play this card as long as you've got, like, 14 creatures in your deck. I think it's a pretty strong one. And then the last thing I want to call out here is there are a lot of field wipes in this set. Something like Beyond the Quiet, just exile all creatures and spacecrafts. Singularity Rupture, destroy all creatures, then somebody mills a bunch. Then there is Mutinous Massacre, which is probably just one of the best cards in the set. 3 black, red for a sorcery. Choose even or odd. Destroy each creature with the mana value of the chosen quality. Then you get to take control of all the rest of them till end of turn, and they gain haste. So either just a really nice engineered field wipe, or more often than not, you just win the game on the spot. There's a spacecraft that's a field wipe, so just be on the lookout. There are a lot of field wipes in this set. Anyways, yeah, that's a lot to say. Good luck in your pre-releases. Go big. Do not be afraid to be splashy. Do not be afraid to put in expensive cards. You want to balance it, of course. You can't have no cheap cards. But, you know, if you're like, well, you know, do I have too many expensive things? The answer is more likely no than yes. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. And once again, good luck at your pre-releases.